Ladies and gentlemen, I want to begin by reminding you of something that will change your life if you take it seriously. The loudest battles are often won in silence. You see, we live in a world that celebrates noise. Everyone wants to be seen. Everyone wants to be heard. Everyone wants to prove something. But the greatest achievers, the most effective leaders, and the most impactful people learned the secret of stillness. They understood that purpose doesn't grow in public, it matures in private. There is a power that lives in silence, a strength that only those who dare to be still ever discover. The reason many people never reach their full potential is because they are too loud in seasons that demand quietness. They announce before they are ready. They speak before they have built. But true greatness doesn't grow in noise, it matures in stillness. Every great leader, every visionary, every person who made history had a season of hiddenness, a season where the world didn't notice them, but heaven was shaping them. Silence is not the absence of progress. It's the environment where destiny is prepared. Think of a seed buried in the soil. No one claps for it, no one sees it, no one celebrates its process. But deep underground, something powerful is happening. It is breaking, expanding, growing roots, silently. That's how greatness is formed. In the same way, when you embrace silence, you allow yourself to grow beneath the surface. You develop strength, wisdom, patience, and character that will sustain you when your season of visibility arrives. The problem with many people is that they want to be seen before they are shaped. They want applause before they have substance. But what's the point of shining publicly if you have no roots privately? Silence ensures that your foundation is deep enough to handle what's coming next. Silence is not weakness, it is strategy. When you stay silent, you take control of your energy. You stop explaining, you stop defending, and you start building. You begin to understand that not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, your plans, or your process. The world has become addicted to noise. Everyone wants to post, talk, and share, but wisdom lives with the quiet. The greatest voices in history didn't waste words. They waited until their words had weight. Every time you choose silence over reaction, you are showing emotional maturity. Every time you hold your peace instead of proving your point, you are choosing power over pride. The silence season is where God shapes your identity. It's where you discover who you truly are when no one is watching. It's where you confront your weaknesses and strengthen your values. You see, when the crowd is gone and the spotlight is off, that's when authenticity is tested. Can you still believe in your vision when no one validates it? Can you still stay disciplined when no one is cheering? That's the proof of greatness. Doing the work quietly when nobody is watching. Trusting that the world will see it when the time is right. Many people mistake silence for inactivity, but silence is never still. When you are silent, you are listening, learning, and growing. You are hearing what others miss. You are developing the kind of inner clarity that makes external noise powerless. Your silence becomes a shield against negativity and confusion. It allows you to respond from wisdom, not emotion. When you embrace silence, you stop reacting and start reflecting. That's when you make better decisions. That's when you stop chasing opportunities and start attracting them. So learn to love the quiet moments. Don't rush to make noise about what you're doing. Don't beg for attention. Earn it through transformation. Because the day will come when your results will speak for you, and they will be louder than any words you could ever say. The tree that grows strong in silence will produce fruit in abundance. The person who learns to be still will rise with unshakable confidence. Let your silence be your classroom, your sanctuary, your weapon. The world might not hear your process, but soon they will see your power. Focus is the currency of destiny. The difference between the ordinary and the extraordinary is not always talent or opportunity. It is focus. The people who achieve greatness in life are not necessarily the ones with the most resources. They are the ones who master the discipline of attention. Every dream, every vision, every divine purpose requires a concentrated mind. A distracted life is a diluted life. When your attention is scattered, your potential is weakened. Focus is what turns potential into performance and dreams into destiny. We live in a generation consumed by distractions. Every sound, every notification, every opinion pulls your mind in a different direction. It's easy to lose sight of who you are and what you are called to do when you are constantly reacting to the world around you. That is why the most powerful thing you can do for yourself is to guard your focus as if your life depends on it, because it does. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. What you focus on expands. When you allow distractions to dominate your attention, you rob your future of its strength. But when you focus on your purpose, everything within you begins to align with destiny. There is a principle you must understand. Not everything that demands your attention deserves your attention. Some things come to drain you, not to develop you. Every time you give energy to gossip, comparison, or fear, you are taking that same energy away from growth, creativity, and purpose. Focus is not just about saying yes to the right things, it's about saying no to the wrong ones. Every no you give to distraction is a yes to destiny. That's why successful people are not just busy, they are intentional. They don't let noise dictate their direction, they let purpose define their path. When you learn to focus, you begin to see differently. You start identifying what really matters and separating it from what only looks important. You stop chasing validation and start pursuing transformation. The more focused you become, the less you need approval, because clarity kills confusion. Focus gives you power, the power to stay consistent, to keep showing up, and to keep building even when progress seems slow. Every day you commit to focus, you make an invisible investment in your future. It may not look like much today, but compounded over time, it becomes unstoppable momentum. Focus also reveals your discipline. It is not a feeling, it is a choice. There will be moments when you feel tired, when distractions look more appealing, when doubt whispers that it's not worth it. But that is where champions are made, in the moments where focus feels hardest. Success doesn't come to those who are inspired once. It comes to those who stay focused consistently. The people who change the world are not necessarily the most talented, but they are the most focused. They understand that greatness is built in small, repetitive acts of discipline done in silence, long before recognition ever arrives. When you focus your life around purpose, you begin to attract divine alignment. Opportunities will begin to find you because focus creates clarity, and clarity attracts resources. People will begin to recognize your direction because you are no longer scattered. You are centered. The moment you stop chasing everything, the right things begin to chase you. The moment you stop being everywhere, you start being effective somewhere. That's the power of focus. It transforms effort into impact. So guard your focus with everything you have. Silence the noise. Ignore the distractions. Refuse to be pulled into meaningless battles that don't contribute to your purpose. Every time you choose focus over distraction, you move closer to destiny. Every time you say no to what doesn't align, you say yes to what will define your legacy. Because in the end, it's not the person who tries everything who wins. It's the one who stays focused long enough to finish what they started. Privacy protects power. The more you value your purpose, the more selective you become with who has access to it. Not every plan needs to be shared, and not every idea should be spoken before its time. The greatest mistake many people make is exposing what is still in the making. When you talk too soon, you invite interference. When you reveal too early, you invite resistance. There is a reason diamonds are formed underground. They require pressure, heat, and darkness to become what they are meant to be. The same is true for your destiny. It matures best in silence and privacy. When God places a vision inside you, He often hides it. He conceals it to protect it, not to punish you. There are seasons when you will feel invisible, misunderstood, or overlooked. But that hiddenness is divine protection. You are being preserved, not ignored. God doesn't build greatness in public. He refines it in secret. Privacy becomes your training ground, where you develop discipline, character, and resilience away from the eyes of the world. Those who rush to display their process before it's complete often collapse under the weight of exposure they weren't ready for. There is something sacred about doing the work quietly. When you are not distracted by the applause or the opinions of others, you can focus entirely on becoming. In privacy, there is no pressure to perform, only space to grow. You can make mistakes, learn, adjust, and rise without judgment. That's why privacy is not isolation, it's incubation. It's the space where dreams are developed into destiny. If you expose the seed before it becomes a tree, it will never survive. Likewise, if you announce every step of your process, you weaken the power of what you're building. People often misunderstand silence as secrecy, but silence is simply wisdom in motion. Every visionary must know when to speak and when to be still. Sometimes your silence confuses others because they can't read your next move. But that's a good thing. Your purpose is not meant to be predictable. Protect your plans the way a lion protects its cubs, fiercely and intentionally. Not everyone who listens to your dreams will celebrate them. Some will compete with them. Others will criticize them, and a few may even copy them. Privacy shields you from unnecessary battles and allows your results to speak for themselves when the time is right. In private seasons, God works on your foundation. He teaches you how to handle pressure without breaking. He strengthens your humility so that when you do step into the spotlight, fame won't destroy you. Some people fail not because they lack talent, but because they were exposed too soon. They shared too much too fast, and the weight of attention crushed what their character couldn't yet carry. Privacy allows time for preparation. It ensures that when you do arrive, you are ready to sustain what you prayed for. You don't owe the world an explanation for your silence. You don't need validation for being private. In fact, your ability to move quietly while others seek attention is what will separate you. The noise of this world is designed to pull you into competition, to make you prove something. But those who are truly powerful never chase recognition. They attract it. They let their excellence make the announcement. When you protect your process, you give your purpose the space it needs to grow stronger. So learn to keep certain things sacred. Keep your strategies, your next steps, and your growth hidden until they are mature enough to stand the test of exposure. Let privacy be your advantage. Let quietness be your armor. The world will see your results soon enough. But until then, stay focused, stay disciplined, and keep building behind the scenes. Because when your time comes, you won't have to prove your greatness. Your work will testify for you. Before you try to change the world, you must first change the person you wake up to every morning, yourself. The greatest investment you will ever make is not in a business, not in a relationship, not even in a dream, but in your own growth. Self-work is the foundation of success. You cannot build an extraordinary life with an undisciplined mind or a neglected spirit. Everything you desire externally begins with what you cultivate internally. The most dangerous thing in life is not to be uneducated, but to be undeveloped. You can have knowledge and still lack transformation if you refuse to work on yourself. The truth is, no one can do your inner work for you. You can't outsource discipline, you can't delegate character, and you can't rent self-control. These are things that must be built from within. We often admire successful people and wonder what they did differently, but most times their advantage wasn't talent, it was personal mastery. They spent years refining their thinking, strengthening their habits, and aligning their lives with purpose. You cannot rise above the level of your own self-development. If your mind is weak, your future will crumble under pressure. That's why personal growth must become your daily priority. The process of working on yourself is not glamorous. It's not loud or dramatic. It's often uncomfortable, lonely, and quiet. It means confronting your insecurities, disciplining your emotions, and challenging your excuses. It means taking responsibility for your attitude, your reactions, and your outcomes. Growth begins the moment you stop blaming others and start asking yourself what needs to change in you. You don't change your life by wishing. It changes when you change. Every new level of your destiny will demand a new version of you, and that version can only be built through intentional self-work. If you want to build a powerful life, you must become a student of yourself. Study your weaknesses, not to shame them, but to strengthen them. Identify the habits that keep you stagnant and replace them with those that push you forward. You cannot pray for promotion while living with procrastination. You cannot expect excellence while tolerating mediocrity within yourself. The outer world always mirrors the inner one. When you organize your thoughts, your world becomes clearer. When you discipline your emotions, your relationships improve. When you grow spiritually, your vision expands. Every change inside creates a ripple effect outside. Self-work requires consistency. You can't improve one day and quit the next. Real transformation is built through daily, deliberate effort. Read books that challenge your mind. Surround yourself with people who elevate your standards. Practice gratitude to shift your perspective. Train your habits until they serve your destiny instead of sabotaging it. You have to become so committed to growth that even when no one is watching, you still hold yourself accountable. Because the real measure of greatness is not what you do in public, but who you are in private. The reason many people never experience lasting success is that they try to build a new life with an old mindset. You can't step into your future thinking the same way you did in your past. The next version of you requires renewal, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. You must learn to let go of limiting beliefs, toxic behaviors, and negative environments that stunt your growth. Self-work is not just about improvement, it's about transformation. It's about becoming so aligned with your purpose that anything that doesn't serve it naturally falls away. When you commit to working on yourself, everything changes. You begin to attract peace instead of chaos, clarity instead of confusion, and progress instead of stagnation. People will notice your energy shift. Opportunities will begin to follow you, not because you're chasing them, but because you've become the kind of person who's ready for them. The work you do on yourself in silence becomes the loudest testimony of your growth. So keep refining, keep learning, keep evolving. The person you are becoming is the foundation of the life you are building, and the higher you want to rise, the deeper your self-work must go. You don't need to explain your vision. Execute it. The moment you begin explaining what God has placed in your heart to people who lack your perspective, you invite misunderstanding. Some people will never see what you see because they were not given your vision. Your purpose is a personal revelation, not a public discussion. Too often, we waste valuable time and energy trying to convince others to believe in something that was never meant for them to understand. You don't need to justify your dream. You just need to walk it out. Let your consistency do the talking, because in the end, results speak louder than explanations ever could. Vision doesn't require validation. When you receive a calling, an idea, or a purpose, it's between you and God. It's not a conference call. The reason many people lose momentum is because they spend too much time seeking approval from those who were never assigned to their journey. You cannot build your future on public opinion. The moment you start explaining your plans to people who doubt you, you start shrinking your dream to fit their understanding. Execution is the language of faith. If you truly believe in what's inside you, act on it. Don't talk about building, start building. Don't describe the mountain, start climbing. There's a powerful peace that comes when you stop defending your purpose. You no longer chase after recognition or explanations, because you realize that your work will reveal everything in time. When you are focused on execution, you operate with quiet confidence. You stop trying to prove your worth and start producing fruit. The tree doesn't argue about whether it's fruitful, it just produces. And people recognize it by the fruit it bears. In the same way, your results will always silence doubt. Your progress will become your proof. The most dangerous thing you can do to your destiny is to delay execution while seeking validation. Every minute you spend explaining is a minute you could have spent creating. Every argument you entertain distracts you from advancement. Great leaders and visionaries understand that not everyone is meant to understand their process. When you are executing, you don't have time for debates. You have deadlines. You don't waste energy trying to be understood. You invest it in being effective. The world listens more closely to results than to reasoning. When you move in silence and produce with excellence, the same people who questioned you will one day quote you. Execution requires faith, because it means acting even when no one else believes. It means trusting the vision even when you have no evidence yet. That's what separates dreamers from doers. Dreamers talk about what could happen. Doers make it happen. It's easy to describe the dream, but it takes discipline to develop it. Many people get stuck in the talking stage. They announce their plans, seek opinions, and wait for perfect conditions. But there's no perfect moment to begin, there's only now. Action is the birthplace of manifestation. Until you move, nothing moves. The power of execution lies in consistency. You don't need to make noise to make progress. You just need to show up day after day, doing the work that others avoid. People might overlook you now, but they won't be able to ignore you later. The universe responds to persistence. When you execute faithfully, even in obscurity, opportunities begin to align with your diligence. Execution transforms vision into visibility. It's the invisible grind that makes visible success possible. So stop explaining and start executing. Stop defending what you were born to do, and just do it with conviction. Silence the doubts through your discipline. Let your actions echo where your words once tried to convince. The proof of belief is movement. The evidence of faith is work. You don't need applause to act, you just need purpose. Because when your results begin to speak, no argument will ever be necessary. Your consistency will preach louder than your voice ever could, and your execution will make your vision undeniable. When God sets you apart, it's not rejection, it's redirection. Isolation is not always a sign that something is wrong. Sometimes it's proof that something powerful is being prepared. Transformation doesn't happen in the crowd. It happens in the quiet corners of solitude. Every person destined for greatness will experience seasons where they feel separated, misunderstood, and even forgotten. But those seasons are never wasted. They are divine appointments designed to shape you, stretch you, and strengthen you for what's ahead. The noise of the world can't refine you the way isolation can. It's in the silence of being alone that you begin to truly hear, truly see, and truly become. There are moments in life when God removes certain people, shuts certain doors, and changes certain paths not to punish you, but to prepare you. When you're constantly surrounded by voices and opinions, you can't always hear His direction. So, He quiets your environment to sharpen your discernment. He isolates you to develop your identity. Sometimes separation is not about who left, it's about who you're becoming. The caterpillar must withdraw into the cocoon before it becomes the butterfly. Likewise, you must go through your own season of isolation before transformation can take place. The cocoon feels like confinement, but it's actually construction. Many people fear being alone because they confuse solitude with loneliness. Loneliness drains you, but solitude develops you. Loneliness focuses on what's missing. Solitude reveals what's possible. When you learn to be comfortable with yourself, you stop needing external validation to feel valuable. Isolation becomes your classroom where God teaches you lessons that the crowd can never comprehend. It's in those quiet moments that you discover your true capacity, your hidden strength, and your divine purpose. Transformation requires space. Space to think differently, to grow freely, and to let go of what no longer fits where you're going. Transformation in isolation also exposes what has been holding you back. It forces you to confront yourself, your fears, your doubts, your habits, and your limitations. It's easy to ignore what's wrong when you're constantly surrounded by distraction. But when it's just you and silence, there's no escape. You begin to see clearly where you've been settling, procrastinating, or compromising. And though that process can be uncomfortable, it is necessary. Growth doesn't feel good, but it produces good. You can't be transformed without being tested, and most of those tests happen when you're alone. The greatest leaders and visionaries in history all had isolated seasons. Moses was alone in the desert before he led a nation. David was alone in the field before he became king. Jesus spent time alone in the wilderness before he began his ministry. Why? Because isolation refines your focus and builds your strength. It strips away dependence on others and teaches you to depend on God. When you are alone, you learn that peace is not found in people but in presence. The presence of purpose, clarity, and divine direction. Transformation through isolation also shifts your relationships. As you evolve, not everyone can go with you. Some people were part of your past, not your purpose. The process of isolation helps you discern who belongs in your next season and who doesn't. It teaches you that elevation requires separation. You can't rise while clinging to what's beneath you. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. You're not cutting people off. You're allowing destiny to filter what no longer fits your future. In isolation, you are not being hidden from the world. You are being prepared for it. The silence that feels heavy today is the space where God is building your next chapter. Every great transformation begins unseen. A seed must die underground before it brings life above the surface. You may feel like nothing is happening, but everything is happening. Isolation is the womb of transformation. It's where purpose takes shape, strength is renewed, and vision becomes clear. So if you find yourself alone, don't fight it. Embrace it. Because in the silence of isolation, you are being transformed into the version of yourself that destiny requires. My friend, hear me today. Your silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. Your focus is not selfish, it's stewardship. The more you grow, the less you'll need to explain yourself, because light never argues with darkness, it just shines. So, from this day forward, make a decision to focus on yourself and stay silent. Let your results speak. Let your growth testify. Let your peace become your power. Because when you stop chasing validation and start pursuing transformation, that's when you step into the fullness of who God created you to be. Stay silent, stay focused, and watch what God does in the quiet places of your life.